Hi guys, this episode brought to you by Scottish Grappling. Scottish Grappling doing events throughout Scotland throughout the year. Next event is going to be SGI 7. SGI 7 is going to be held in the usual place in Maryhill Community Centre on Saturday the 14th of March. Event kicks off around about 4:30, runs till obviously finish, but usually around about 10 o'clock. Tickets are available on the Eventbrite website, which you can get the link through the Scottish Grappling page. So promises to be obviously a good night. We've got the under 75 tournament that's going to be going on, and it looks like a stacked card at the moment. Obviously a lot of big names on there, a lot of familiar names. So yeah, promises to be a fantastic event. So yeah, keep an eye out for obviously updates for that through the Scottish Grappling page. Next competition event is going to be the Glasgow BJJ Open. Glasgow BJJ Open will be held on the 5th of April. So that'll be Sunday the 5th of April. This is a gi only event. It's going to be held again at the usual place, Scotstoun Leisure Centre in Glasgow. So yeah, as I mentioned, gi only event. So obviously they're going to have juveniles, going to have adult division, masters, and obviously the seniors division as well. So obviously absolutes are going to be on, so there's going to be some absolute prizes as well. So again, James and Gary will keep everybody updated through both Scottish Grappling page and the Scottish BJJ community page. So hi guys, welcome to StoomCast. So today joined by obviously a very good friend of mine, and Scotland's finest. I mentioned him being one of Scotland's very first ninja, Paul McVeigh. Again, a lot of people know who Paul is, what he's done MMA wise. Obviously, had a fantastic run in MMA when obviously MMA now is. Even back then it was cool, but obviously everybody's doing MMA now, whereas back when Paul did it, as I say, there wasn't really a lot of people as there is compared to now. So Paul obviously travelled all over the place, obviously through MMA and then obviously through Jiu-Jitsu, obviously being at the GripHouse and things like that as well. So the GripHouse, again, as everybody in Scotland will know, the GripHouse in regards to Jiu-Jitsu competitions, the GripHouse are the best in Scotland, and then obviously the GripHouse is always the ones that when guys go to compete, if they come up against a GripHouse guy, they always want to beat them, or they want to be as good as them. So it's an absolute pleasure to have you on, Paul. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, man. Thanks for having me on.
Mm-hmm. I'd say a lot of people mentioned you, obviously getting you on. I think one of the kind of main ones was David Burns. So I know he kind of collared the both of us at I think we were at a comp over in Scotstoun, and I think he'd been talking to me about it, but you didn't know about it. And he was like, "Yeah, Paul will do it," and you're like, "Do what? What was it I'm going to do?" So yeah.
Yeah, David likes putting me up for whatever's kind of happening. You know, he's like, I think he just likes listening to me talk.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, David was one of the kind of main guys, and then obviously a few other guys as well. I'd say when obviously I mentioned about getting somebody on, I'd say your name was always one that came up. So yeah, very excited to have you on, Paul. So I mean, if one of the first times I met you, I think I came up to, and I always tell this story about, because when anybody says to me, what got you into it, and the story was when, and you probably won't remember this because you've got guys coming in and out the gym all the time.
I also get hit in the head a lot. Like that
But I came up, I think it was about a year before I started Jiu-Jitsu, and I remember coming up to because I think I'd messaged you and you said, yeah, come in, obviously come in, you can watch the class and obviously see how you get on and things like that. So I came up, there was me and my friend came up, and we were in, and we were kind of sitting at the side, and you were there, and there was two guys rolling, and one of the guys choked a guy and put him asleep right in front of us, and you were like, "Oh my God, guys, there's fucking people here coming to see if they're going to join, and you guys are choking each other unconscious." So, but yeah, that was the very first time I'd kind of met you. Obviously, I knew about you through obviously MMA, obviously watched the Ultimate Fighter and things like that as well. So, but for you, I mean, what was it that got you kind of interested or getting involved in jiu-jitsu?
Well, I think I was doing sort of what I thought was jiu-jitsu before I was doing jiu-jitsu. We had back in Ireland, I had a really good coach. We didn't know a lot, but he was tough, and I think he bred that toughness into us. And then we started seeing the early UFC VHSs, and we started identifying that what Hoist and those guys were doing wasn't the same thing we were doing. So from just bits and pieces, we kind of started figuring out the techniques and, like, buying old grappling mags, VHS with instructionals, and kind of building up it. So we're pretty much self-taught at that stage. Then moved to kind of Scotland and hooked up with some similarly like-minded people, and again we just did the same thing. We just figured stuff out. We met some really good people along the way, like my coach Roberto Tala. We trained a lot with Marcus, and it just started growing from there to the point where, like, we ended up, like, I remember there was a coach like Mike Chapman, who was over teaching seminars in the UK and stuff, and I was asking him about, like, right, I'm thinking of starting a club, but I'm kind of crappy, like I'm like a blue belt, I don't know anything. And he always, like, this kind of stuck with me. He said, if you don't do it, somebody else will do it, and they won't be as passionate or as good as you. Yeah. So that's kind of what got us started with the coaching side of things. Yeah. And to be fair, jiu-jitsu initially for me was just the way of kind of like being good at MMA, because MMA was always my focus initially. Yeah.
And obviously you did that, so you've done absolute wonders in MMA. I mean, well, I know I was looking at, I think you were, Cage Warriors, and you were a champion in 2 different divisions.
I did that before it was cool.
So before Conor McGregor did it, before the champ thing was a saying, so.
Well, again, it wasn't like that was at a time when there weren't many people doing it. So, like, if you were a guy who had an armbar from guard, you were dangerous. Yeah. Like, if you heard you were fighting a blue belt in jiu-jitsu, you were kind of a bit concerned about it. Yeah. So, like, I think it's like generations of Formula 1 cars. We were like the first generation crappy. Yeah. Like, I don't even know what you would call it. And every generation has come since then in terms of kind of, like, professionalism and everything else. It's just grown from there.
Yeah. And then obviously you came over to Scotland. So when was it you came over to Scotland?
Oh, I came over in 2000 to go to university here.
And obviously enjoyed it. What was it you did at university, Paul?
I did sports science, physiology, and nutrition.
And is that something you still use to this day? Obviously, do you still use that in, like, say, your training, or even helping kind of any of your students or things like that when they're training?
Well, it's kind of it's hard to say, because, like, I think I've learned some really cool stuff from the degree, mainly like how to read scientific papers and not get caught up with hype and kind of, like, I think fake news is like a big thing right now. That's common, but just not by bamboozled by people's bullshit. So we were always pretty much ahead of the curve in terms of training methodologies and that sort of thing. And basically, a lot of my time now with jiu-jitsu guys is telling people whatever they've heard on the Joe Rogan podcast is bullshit. But again, it's hard to tell whether that was from the degree or from the near on 20 years of actual staying up to date with, like, research and kind of stuff that interests me from there on then. And then the GripHouse, when did that come about? So, what year did the GripHouse first come about? Oh, Jesus. It was 2005. That was the point when Guy Ramsey asked me, listen, I've got this unit in Maryhill. Do you want to do some stuff, jiu-jitsu stuff in it? And we went ahead with that. Again, we were doing what everyone else did at the time, training out of leisure centres and just doing our thing that way. And it was the first spot where we could call our own and build something from there. And it's kind of grown legs from there.
Yeah. And obviously you guys do not just jiu-jitsu, but you've got a number of classes, a number of things that people could get involved in.
Yeah, like, again, I think that's one of, like, the hallmarks. It's not like we give the guys scope to build their own businesses within the gym. Like, we've probably got one of the bigger gyms, but we also have probably the most employed. I don't really want to call them employees, but the most coaches operating out of it and doing not their own thing, because, like, everything's connected and we all see each other all the time, but that's kind of it's basically made jobs for a huge amount of people. And that's something we're really proud of.
Yeah, definitely. And again, I mentioned obviously at the start, I mean, obviously the things that the GripHouse has brought to martial arts in Scotland, in regards to obviously MMA and Jiu-Jitsu and obviously the other martial arts that you guys do. I mean, you guys are definitely the number one team in Scotland and have been for a number of years.
Oh, cool. That's cool.
And again, it's always interesting. I mean, anybody, even like when we're at Marcus's and we're like, right, okay, so when we prepare for a comp, everybody wants to be the number one. And we always look and say, right, it's always the GripHouse. Everybody wants to beat the GripHouse. And again, I look at that, and again, when I came through, I think I fought one of your guys back in the day, and I just remember the amount of people that Big Martin had in his corner. Just all GripHouse guys. There must have been about, and this was in Edinburgh, so obviously they travelled over at a local jiu-jitsu competition, the BJJ 24/7, and he must have had 20 or 30 people in his corner. So,
yeah, that's a nice way to slip in the time you beat Martin. That was very, very subtly done there. So.
No, but what I mean is the obviously the backing that you guys have. Whenever you guys go to a competition, you always come with numbers, big numbers. Even when you're doing the competition, or even guys just spectating, which doesn't really happen a lot. I mean, you don't see other clubs, unless you're competing. Not a lot of clubs bring a lot of people. I know that more and more now clubs are coming with 20 people. Maybe half of them are competing, half of them are not competing. So, whereas, as I say, this was, for me, as I say, the first time I'd seen that was 2015, and there was a few people competing from the Grip that day, but the amount of spectators that they had, as I say, there must have been about 20 or 30 people in Martin's corner, and which at that point was unheard of.
Well, he's a cop. They were probably all like police officers, and you're lucky you didn't get arrested or get car ticketed outside and stuff. Again, it just really depends. Like, we have certain comps that we kind of prioritize, and it's generally like, and this is kind of was quite selfish, but like it's like my wife works on the weekend, so if a competition arrives on a day that she's working and I've got the kids, I can't really go to it.
Yeah.
Whereas if I can know in advance that I can get to it, I can kind of coach the guys and stuff. We'll really encourage the guys. We'll really aim for that in training, and we'll try to bring a big squad to it. And that way, it seems more like a team kind of thing. Because I know Gary's in all these comps, but he's running them, so it's really hard for him to kind of coach when he's got other duties at it. So it's always good to have somebody kind of like looking out for the guys. And generally, if I and Gary's the worst at kind of promoting his own stuff. Like, I don't think like a lot of times he won't even tell guys that there's a competition on. He's that he's running, because he feels like he's shilling for his own comps. Whereas I kind of, if I can wrangle the time off and can get to it, I'll be like, guys, if you're going to do any comp, do this one. And it's always good fun. As fun as cornering like about 40 guys for 8 hours of jiu-jitsu can be,
And that's one thing. I mean, obviously you're one of the kind of more recognised people at competitions. So if your guys are fighting, and as you mentioned there, if you've not got the kids that weekend and you are able to get to the comp, you will be there for your team. Which again, before. And again, I know it happens a lot now with certain teams, but before you would never have a black belt turning up at a competition. Whereas, as I said, for you, and obviously we know Gary's there anyway, but you will always make an effort to actually turn up and, as you said, corner your guys all day.
Yeah, if I can do it, I love doing it. It's just like with family life, it can be kind of somewhat challenging to say, here, listen, I'm going away for 8 hours to sit in a leisure centre, and you can just like stay here.
Yes.
Family time is important, and it's important to get the balance. And if I can swing it, I always like to do it.
Yeah, definitely. And then for you, I mean, obviously you mentioned obviously being a blue belt, so this would have been back 2005. So
something like that. Yeah, something like that.
Obviously, you were doing MMA, but in regards to jiu-jitsu comps, when did you do your first jiu-jitsu competition?
Well, to be fair, I've done a lot of no-gi comps, just because that tied in well with I was always of the opinion that the more you competed in any of the range. So I've competed in Thai box and I've competed in like grappling and stuff, and I've always thought it made you better at MMA. It's kind of what Reese does, like Reese McEwen, one of our fighters.
Yeah.
He just competes in everything all the time, and that's why he's got a really successful professional MMA career, like burgeoning career.
Yeah.
And that's because he can jump into a jiu-jitsu tournament, compete at purple belt and win stuff. He can jump into a Thai fight and knock people out. Like, so he's got that background, and that's kind of what I did. Yeah. I've only ever had one gi jiu-jitsu match.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think it was at heavyweight because meat hates me. But again, ended up winning that. And I'm looking to do some more, probably when my kids are a bit older. But like competition jiu-jitsu wise, I don't have tons of experience. I've done about maybe like 20 no-gi matches.
Yeah.
And that's about it.
Yeah. And then what, in regards to preparation then, so do you prepare for, obviously, the no-gi comps in the same way you would have prepared for MMA, or is there a slight variation to your training?
Well, I kind of like, at the time I was actively involved in MMA, so I kind of was just doing them as a thing to do, so yeah. I wasn't training specifically for them. So I basically just do my regular training, still be Thai boxing, still be wrestling, still be doing conditioning, and then jump down to Manchester or wherever it was and then do the comp. But like that would be much different now that the only thing I really do is I wrestle and I do jiu-jitsu. That's it. Yeah. So I think I'd probably apply the MMA methodology to it, and probably treat it much more seriously than a lot of people do. Mm-hmm. And yeah. Like there's a way to run a training camp in MMA which I think carries over very well in jiu-jitsu. Yeah. And that's something that kind of I'd probably do if I ever did get round to competing. Yeah, yeah. And the one thing as well about you, I mean, you're always in shape. You're never, and again, like from my point of view, I mean, I'll maybe fight at under 100 kilos, so I'll get myself down to under 100 kilos for the competition, but then I'll maybe jump back up to 110. So, but whereas you, as I said, anytime I see you, you always look like you're always in shape. That's very sweet. Yeah, like I don't think I've ever been over 70 kilos. I think it was at 71, and I was really proud of that for a while. And then like I sit around the same weight, just doing what I'm doing. You know, I'm not dieting. I do eat pretty healthy, but I also eat a lot of donuts. And I think that's just the sheer amount of training I do. I kind of just, and even then, I'm not training half as much I did when was actively doing MMA stuff. Yeah. I just don't tend to. I think this is my weight, and I just end up staying at it. Yeah,
yeah. And you love your whiskey as well.
Yeah, like that is a problem. We should probably address that. Yeah.
When I say love your whiskey, I mean I don't mean as in like you're not an alcoholic.
I have a problem.
No, you don't have a problem, but you love your whiskey. I mean, you always see you posting, and I think the other person that there's quite a few, obviously GripHouse guys will always post a new bottle of whiskey they've just bought and things like that. So.
Oh, I know. I think it's like what happens is like I keep thinking, right, I'm going to stop drinking just because like the costs definitely outweigh the benefits to it. Yeah, yeah. But like then people just know I like it, so I keep people keep giving me whiskey, and I'm like, well, it's in my house, like I'm gonna drink it. Yeah, yeah. And yeah, so I keep telling myself I'm gonna stop, but then I just go. Not that I'm actually a problem drinker or anything. I don't think I need to get called in like AA or anything. But maybe I'm just protesting too much here. Yeah, yeah.
No, definitely not a problem drinker. So I don't
hope so.
I don't want everybody thinking that. So
it's a class like mangled or anything.
Yes. And then obviously you mentioned Roberto Atala. Obviously you guys are affiliated under Roberto Atala. Yeah. So had you always known Roberto, or how did that come about for you?
Yeah, I don't know. Like I was in holiday in Brazil when the guys organised. I think it came through. I was friends with Ian Butlin, an MMA fighter from like Manchester way years ago.
Is that the Butlin brothers?
Yeah, those guys.
Yeah, yeah.
And they said I think they arranged it, and Roberto came up, and he kept coming back, and he's like, it's the best way to have an affiliation because I'm affiliated to my mate. Like it's not like he's kind of like a. It's not like it's a guy you don't see hardly ever. Like if I have like questions about jiu-jitsu or something like that, I can always ask him. To be fair, it's usually more about he's really into orchids and like science, like physics stuff, and that's kind of what we end up talking about for most of the time.
Right.
Yeah. So he's a good guy, and he's been coming to Scotland like for like ever, and he's a big driving force in the success of the GripHouse.
Yeah. I mean, I think I met him once. I'm sure he was over, and I think he came to one of the competitions.
Probably fucking mangled me.
So I think I met him once, but yeah, nice guy, really nice guy.
Yeah, he's very smiley. It's Rosada.
Right.
Yeah.
So laughter, and nice. And then obviously over the years, I mean, you guys have had, I mean, there would obviously be far too many people to mention, because obviously there's been a number of guys obviously that train with you now, and obviously over the years that have come through the doors, and again, as we mentioned, certainly in jiu-jitsu, I mean, I think we were talking to Shaz Khan, and I think at that point Shaz had won, I'm sure he said it was about 16 or 17 IBJJF gold medals. Obviously you've got Cogsy, Gary Christie's out there, kind of leading the way as well. So in regards to that level, has that always been the level that you guys wanted to get to?
It's hard to say. Like, we're not a competition gym.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of guys to compete, but like, you know, it's not our primary focus.
Yeah.
The vast majority are recreational guys, but like, you know, if we do have the kind of the ability to help get guys there. So I think like recently you had guys that just jumping into tournaments doing really well and then losing on because like they don't know that if you kick the guy's leg and as they pull guard, that's you lose 2 points. You know, like that sort of thing. Like you give away 2 points, just small rules things. Mm-hmm. So it's not a priority for us, but maybe it's something we should probably consider doing more. Just because the guys are being successful with it, and we have guys that like Shay and a couple of other guys are competing on a very, very big stage. So yeah, it's something to look into. But again, our main bread and butter is like the recreational guys and giving good people good technical jiu-jitsu as opposed to kind of like, you know, how to win comps, because like I don't know how to do that.
Yeah. I mean, winning comps is, I mean...
Yeah, it's a skill in itself.
Yeah. I mean, especially like IBJJF comps, I mean, obviously you're going in there, which, as you know, is completely different from, let's say, a sub-only comp.
Yeah, but even in sub-only, the rules can be gamed as well. It's not like sub-only is a true form of jiu-jitsu, because it kind of penalizes the top player a lot. Like where you kind of just basically, you can't even begin to start submitting them really with upper body stuff until you get past their legs, and whereas the guy in the bottom has access to pretty much everything. So it's a weird one. That's like I always find myself, I like both, but I always find myself kind of almost drawn to the MMA style of things, because you can just go, right, well, that's a bit more honest. If the jiu-jitsu works in MMA, it's legit.
Yeah. And then who's been for you, let's say jiu-jitsu, because obviously you'll have, I'm pretty sure, obviously idols and MMA and things like that, so but who would be the person that you would look up to if you were, or anybody throughout the years that you've looked up to?
Oh man, it changes all the time. I kind of look at specific people for specific things. I've been going on this big collar and sleeve kick at the minute and watching a lot of Mergali. He's like just an amazing jiu-jitsu guy to watch. He's like I can't really emulate his attributes because he's about like 6'5". I'm not there, but like his collar and sleeve is something I really like to watch. Passing wise, Lucas Lepre is pretty much like one of my favorite passers. I watch a lot of JT Torres and like Mikey Musumeci with his footlock. It's as opposed to the actual person, it's what they're doing, as opposed to like I don't care about those people. I wanted to see what they're doing, and just kind of take what I can from them. Which is kind of so they can be terrible people, but I'll still watch them if they've got good jiu-jitsu. Yeah.
And what did you think of Mikey's fight at the Euros there, the fighting the big 400-pound guy?
Yeah, I think he's got a death wish, man. Like, I think Caio Terra's managed to trick him into doing something which is inherently massively unhealthy. And I think he's fighting Urban Santos next. Maybe. Is that happening?
I think it is happening. Obviously, we know that Caio put up 10 grand. And said, look, he'll fight anybody. And then obviously they had a list of names, and it was just a case of picking a name out. How they picked it, I don't actually know. But they've obviously come up with their Beth Santos. But then obviously there was a bit of an uproar saying, well, why would you want to fight him?
Let's fight the emotionally unstable giant guy.
Yeah. So as far as I know, it is still happening. But whether it does or doesn't, then I say that only time will tell. So hopefully it does. Hopefully it does. I mean, and I remember
it's a spectacle. It gets people talking because like Mikey's got results, but he doesn't have he's not like a Gordon Ryan character. He's not like shit talking everyone his way to get people being interested in him. He's just like all he does, he just taps people out in 17 seconds in the World Championships finals. Like no big deal. So I think he needs a different. If he's going to give that kind of level of like notoriety and and the financial rewards that come with it, this sort of stuff's probably a good idea.
Yeah, definitely. And then it reminded me of a picture. I seen a picture because obviously I was looking through your pictures, obviously looking for a good picture to use, which hopefully you liked it.
Was this me with Mo?
You and Big Mo, yes.
Oh Jesus, yeah, like he was fun.
yes. So Big Mo. I remember we were at again a competition, and I remember standing there, and there was me and a couple of guys, and there was a couple of other people just standing next to us, and they were like, "Oh, I would hate to fight him," and they were all talking this way, and you're like, "Do you know what? That's fun." Do you know what I mean? All right, you would kick your ass. Do you know what I mean? He'd kick my ass, and probably the majority of people in the room, but people were looking, saying, "Oh, I would never want to fight him." And then I remember he fought Andrew Great, and Andrew, I can't remember. Andrew ended up on the ground, and obviously Big Mo ended up trying to rip Andrew's arm off with a Kimura.
He is. Like the thing is, people would never give Mo credit for it because he's so big. He's actually very, very good.
Yeah. Like
people were like, he was saying, "Oh, he just goes for his Kimura," and it's like, yeah, but he sets it up really, really well. Like he's not like kind of just muscling stuff all the time. He's got nice passes.
Yeah.
He's actually pretty technical for like a person that gigantic, and like he doesn't even need jiu-jitsu. He could just do that mountain thing where you just grab people's heads and crush it. The fact that he's actually trying to do real moves is a testament to him.
Yeah. And I also seen him down. I was at the a few years ago, and I think we were at the British or the London Open, or one of the, I'm sure it was the London Open, and Big Mo came down, and I think Big Mo there was him in his division with two other people, and the two other people didn't turn up, and Mo was pissed, man. He was like, "Fucking, do you know what I mean? I travelled all this way," and so he's speaking to the organiser, and he's like, "Look, listen, I'll fight anybody." He said, "I don't care what belt they are or what size they are or whoever wants to fight." So I remember Big Mo walked away, and then there was another guy who was about 70 kilos, and he said to him, "There's nobody in your division. Do you want to fight?" And the guy's like, yeah, listen, I'll fight anybody. And they were like, right, okay, let's go and get the guy. And then they shouted Big Mo over. And I just remember Big Mo walking over, and the 70 kilo guy saying, "Shit." You know what I mean? Like, maybe I shouldn't have said anybody. And Big Mo went in, and I think he ended up scoring a lot of points. Do you know what I mean? I think it was like 20 something, and then ended up that was the end of the fight. Do you know what I mean? I don't think he submitted him because obviously Big Mo, he knows he's big, but he's obviously respectful.
He's not going to like just rip someone's arm off just because they're like, particularly somebody who's gone out of their way to give him a match, you know.
Yeah, so I think Big Mo, what he did was he kind of worked his game, obviously his passing game, and just different things and scoring points and stuff like that. But I'm sure it ended up as like 20 something, nothing. But that was the thing. I remember the 70 kilo guy. I always remember his face and just being like, "Shit." Do you know what I mean? Like, my God. And his coach as well, the poor boy's coach was looking like that, as if to say, "What have you done, man?" Do you know what I mean? Like, what have you done?
Yeah, it's character building. That's the way I look at it. Every time I roll with like some like the monsters in our gym, like I just go, it's good for me. It's good for me getting a kicking. It's
definitely fine. Character building. I like that. I like that. So, and then for you, I mean, obviously you've now come on. So when was it you got your black belt? When did that happen for you?
I should know, like 2014 maybe? No. Yeah, it's like 2014 I think.
Yeah.
I think I've been training jiu-jitsu for about maybe 12, 13 years. But again, like a lot of that was kind of before there was, before BJJ Fanatics, when you're trying to learn jiu-jitsu techniques from written instructions on websites and crappy pictures and stuff. So I think like the guys today, they've got the information's out there, and it's just having the training partners and the discipline to train, because like you can have me teaching you like burn bulldogs, or you could have half a Mendez teaching you on YouTube. Like the best guys in the world aren't putting out the information now, and that's kind of handy.
Yeah. It's good that you mentioned the BJJ Fanatics. I mean, obviously you can get everybody on that. And they're always putting up like teasers for maybe DVDs they're dropping or something like that. So and as you mentioned, obviously the availability now is far greater than what it was 12, 13 years ago, or even when you first started. So
oh yeah, for real. Like yeah, I remember VHS getting like the first Mario Sperry DVDs and kind of going, oh, no, not DVDs, VHS.
Yeah.
And trying to learn jiu-jitsu from those, and a lot of stuff was like poor quality. Now, like you look at some of the Danaher stuff, some of Lachlan Giles' stuff, you're just going like, they're explaining this in a way that anyone can get, and all you need to do is listen to them and train, and you will be good at jiu-jitsu. Yeah,
yeah. And a lot of the guys, I mean, I've done a few podcasts where I've spoke to people, and they've mentioned that when they first started, they're like guys in Ayrshire, that they used to travel up to the GripHouse because that was the only real place where you actually learned anything, because obviously they were doing it in, like fucking Joke Love was talking about, doing it in a shed where dogs would come in and shit in the shed and all that because there was a hole in the wall.
I've been in that shed as well. It was like it's a guy, Willie McCracken, and he's mental, but his dog knew jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Like his dog would just be sitting there looking at you. It's this big giant bear dire wolf thing, right? Yeah. And like if you when you were getting your hole kicked by Willie, it'd be like, yeah, dog's fine. But as soon as you start passing his guard or sweeping him or something, the dog starts growling. The dog knew jiu-jitsu. Like, talk to Jock about this. This definitely happened.
Yeah.
It was mental. The dog was just like growling at you as soon as you were getting close to getting anything, and you're going, right, well, if I complete this pass, I'm going to get my face eaten off by either Willie or the dog.
Well, that was the main Joke was talking about it, obviously coming up. John Nicholson was talking about coming up back in the day as well. So and obviously these guys are now black belts. Who
all very good black belts, man.
Yeah, I mean, all very good black belts, obviously doing their own things. And I said a lot of them kind of, when they were coming up, they kind of put a lot of praise on the GripHouse because, as I mentioned, that was the only place that they were able to go where they actually learned anything. Again, anybody that we talk to, as I say, GripHouse is always one of the kind of main gyms that they talk about. So, and again, you guys are pretty open door. Anybody could kind of come in and obviously train if they wanted to.
Yeah, like we have like our Sunday open mat's like open to everyone, and it's a free open mat. You can come in from any gym and just turn up and train. Like we kind of like, it's beneficial for our guys. It's beneficial for the guys coming in. So it's something that's we actively encourage. Yeah,
and we always see some of the guys as well. I mean, I know we had Caio Terra and Mikey over, and obviously we had a number of guys come from a GripHouse that wanted to come over and obviously see, and again you do see the guys going and training in different places as well and just picking up different things because they love, the one thing jiu-jitsu guys love, as you know, is rolling. They might not enjoy the class, but they'll enjoy the rolling after it or before it. So
there's a big social aspect to it as well. Like the guys just like hanging out together. The guys and girls like hanging out together. And like, you know, like, have you met many jiu-jitsu people who are kind of like you don't want to talk to? Like it doesn't really happen compared to kind of other sports. Like football teams don't like each other. Like even to a degree in like striking sports, there's that kind of, well, not really actually, because like the Thai boxing guys that we know and stuff are all super cool. Even with the other teams, but like it just seems to be like there's no bad boys in the kind of like the amateur Scottish jiu-jitsu scene. There's no one who's like a dick, you know.
And as I say, that's something that I've noticed over my time. And as I said, I've only been doing jiu-jitsu for about 6 years, but I've noticed, I mean, as times went on, and again you'll notice it from back in the day, but the level of jiu-jitsu at the moment seems to be as good as I've ever seen it.
Yeah, like it's ridiculous. Like, and again, that comes from like the availability of knowledge and like just better training methodologies. Like we used to do stuff that was just stupid. Like, you know, like I can't even think of examples, but like just do techniques wrong. Whereas that's easily fixed now because you can have feedback. Like, you know, some of the information that's out there, and particularly the online sites, because you get an overview of that coach's particular style. If you're on like Caio Terra online, you see how he does things and you can kind of replicate that style. Whereas if you're just figuring it out yourself, like, you know, you will make mistakes, and we did many mistakes.
And is that something you've never thought about doing, or even the guys at the Grip is doing something similar to that with maybe an online thing, maybe online tutorials or something like that.
But it's something we're definitely thinking about doing for our members, because like when you start jiu-jitsu, you walk in and you could be being taught any sort of aspect of jiu-jitsu. Even in the intro classes, where like kind of we try to keep it pretty simple. It could be any aspect of jiu-jitsu. And then you go, all right, I want to learn more of this. I go on YouTube and type in Eddie Bravo's craziest moves and start getting really into twisters and destroying your knees with rubber guards. What we want is somewhere where we can send, like, I'm not sure I'm talking to Eddie, actually. I've met him a few times. He's pretty cool.
Yeah.
We want to have a fundamentals program in place where we can say, right, guys, when you can do all that and apply it against a resisting opponent, you've got a good grounding in jiu-jitsu, you're ready for like more intermediate classes, and you're probably a blue belt. So that's kind of what we're looking at doing right now. We're just putting it together at the minute.
Yeah, nice. And again, that'll be for members only.
Yeah, it's probably just members only, because like, you know, like I don't think we're bringing anything more kind of revolutionary to the table like than the guys, you know, like Marcelo Garcia is doing. So I think it's hard to monetize that when your competition's like Marcelo Garcia. Do you want to watch me teach butterfly guard or Marcelo? You know.
Yeah.
But I think it's useful to have a team style and stuff that we expect. So we'll probably put more of our stuff on that. But again, I think it's better for have it as an in-house thing. If anyone wants to help us on it, like work away. But there are probably better guys out there.
Yeah, and that's something you wouldn't have got years ago. I mean, obviously you mentioned there, there was VHSs. I remember the Gracies did a combatants program and things like that, but you wouldn't have had a lot of gyms, or there wouldn't have been the people putting their moves out there, because again, jiu-jitsu was very secretive.
Like it was like those old Gracie ones. They used to teach you passes that put you into triangles. Like you know, they used to teach you wrong as a joke. Yeah. Like a lot of those ones were like kind of saying, "Oh, you do this thing and then leave out a detail, which means you just get your balls booted." I remember seeing a pile of those back in the day. He's going, "That's that shit." Yeah.
I think it was I can't remember which one it was. But it was Hoary and Gracie. Used to have a moustache.
The triangle pass.
Yeah, man, he just looked like a porn star. With a moustache, and obviously he had the hairy chest and everything all sticking out, do you know what I mean? And he was showing jiu-jitsu moves. And it was
like I think we all had those. But like on those tips.
And it was a real grainy video, but you would sit there and watch it. I remember I've watched it as well, thinking, I can do this and I can do that. But as you mentioned, obviously, the more you get into jiu-jitsu, you kind of realise, well, hold on a minute. If I do that, then I'm going to get caught with this, or if I try this, something else is going to happen. So, but it was.
Yeah, I think it's only the last couple of years that jiu-jitsu is starting to be taught as a system, as opposed to just a collection of moves. Like you know, and people are starting to get out of that idea of like, you know, it's a moves arms race, like and it's hard for new guys as well, because like, you know, they want to get taps, but there's something about like fundamental techniques that you kind of just need to have, and that's going to be like your basis on stuff. Particularly with leg locks, every gym has a guy who's just good at leg locks. Like who's fucking shit at everything else, but it will tap out high level guys because they're good at leg locks, you know. And it's not just leg locks; it's guillotines, stuff that you can just jump on. And guys tend to kind of like, they will sometimes like kind of like just look for the newest move that no one's seen that they can catch with. But again, once you kind of understand fundamentals and have exposure to the new stuff, you can kind of deal with it a lot better. Like a lot of lapel guard stuff. When that first came out, we had a lot of our guys playing it, and it's only now I'm kind of getting a handle on kind of how to deal with it a bit better.
And that happens a lot. I mean, with jiu-jitsu, and again, as I said, I've noticed it over my time, is something's fashionable at the time. So obviously leg locks is fashionable at the moment. Before that, it was something else, and then and so on and so on. So and again, it'll change. Next year, it might be something different.
Like I think I predicted the straight foot lock. I was talking to Lachlan Giles when he was here. He was like, we were just talking about leg locks, and he was saying like, I don't really go for straight foot locks because no one in his division taps out to them. I was like, it's definitely going to happen in the lighter weight divisions. Like you know, you see Mikey just tapping everyone with it. And like Felipe Andrew, these sort of guys that are kind of like catching them at higher levels and stuff. And I think that's going to be a thing for a while, which is shit because my ankles are broken.
But Mikey was talking when he came over. I mean, we've got Jack Brown, and Jack Brown.
I know Jack.
So Jack Brown in regards to leg stuff. I mean, obviously he goes into submission onlys and He's just a nightmare in the gym when he's going over his leg lock stuff. And he was speaking to Mikey, and obviously they did the Q&A after it, and his question was, look, how can I kind of maximise anything I'm doing with the feet, leg locks, foot locks, or anything like that? And Mikey showed him a move where he was like, well, if you get the foot lock in place, or whatever move you're getting it in place, and then push down just below the knee, almost push like the kneecap up towards the top half of their body, and that way their foot just goes kind of limp a little bit, and then you can get it even more. And I remember saying to Mikey, I'm like, of all the people you could have showed that to, was fucking Jack Brown. So I'm like,
well, that's like I couldn't make the seminar because I was coaching, but that was the first thing I asked Cogsy and the guys said who went to it. I was like, oh, did he do anything on the footlock? Because that's what I want to know about. Because it's like it'd be like getting Craig Jones to your class, to come to your gym, and he's not doing heel hooks. That's his thing. Yeah. And it comes off as berimbolo, because people are so worried about his bolo that they kind of. They leave their feet hanging in that position. They straighten their legs to avoid it, and then he can snatch it up for that footlock, and it works really well. Yeah.
So he showed Jack Brown, and ever since he showed Jack Brown, I mean, Jack Brown's been a nightmare, absolute nightmare.
Oh, he was a nightmare before that.
He was a nightmare before it, but he's even worse now. So, but as you mentioned, it's good to have someone like that in the gym where.
Yeah, but Jack's good at everything else as well, though. So I'm not saying that Jack's one of these characters that is just good at leg locks. Yeah.
So it's always brilliant having someone, as you mentioned, you've got someone in the gym that's good at foot locks, someone in the gym's good at guillotines, someone's good at arm bars. And is that something you find obviously in the GripHouse? You've got a kind of variety of guys that can do almost every move.
Yeah, we kind of give them a lot of autonomy over the more intermediate guys. We kind of let them, in my classes, you can come in and you can do what I'm doing, what I'm coaching, or you can do whatever you want during the drilling phases. Yeah. And I think that leads to guys developing their own game to a degree. We've always been really open with I don't think we have guys like Gregor and Nathaniel who haven't worn a gi but do the gi classes but do their own drilling and stuff. And a lot of gyms wouldn't be cool with that, but we've always been fine with it. Yeah. And they develop their own styles, and I think that's why there's no specific gym style that we have. Me and Gary train completely differently. I think Gary's more like a lightweight kind of jiu-jitsu guy, and I'm the kind of the heavy crusher one, despite our body dimensions. Yeah. And it's it works well. It's good because there's always somebody who's good at something, particularly if you want to work on something. And there's always the younger guys that are working on the kind of the newest stuff. We've had a lot of guys playing lapels and Mantis Guard and not Mantis Guard, what is it? That Matrix Guard thing. And it's good just because it keeps us exposed to all the new material, and we don't get kind of caught by something we haven't seen before.
Yeah. And with you guys, because obviously you guys have taken obviously martial arts or every kind of different variation of martial arts to whole new levels in Scotland. So what's for the future of the GripHouse? Because do you feel that you've maybe, well, no, you've not peaked, but what do you see as the next step for you guys?
Well, personally, again, I'm just I don't do anything with MMA anymore. I kind of I'll do the wrestling classes, but that's Cammy's thing now. I just concentrate on the jiu-jitsu side of things, and again, I think this having a solid fundamentals program and a path to give our guys to when they immediately come in and don't know what they're doing. That's what I'm concentrating on at the minute. Just making the transition from what's jiu-jitsu. I heard Joe Rogan said this was a good idea, and kind of getting guys to a level where it makes sense to them. Because the general path is you turn up and you keep turning up until it starts to make sense. We want to make that a bit more streamlined. Again, I think we probably are at some point, particularly when I get a bit more time, going to concentrate more on the competition side of things. And start preparing guys for different types of comps. At the minute, they're kind of not left to their own devices, but to a degree, Badger was competing on London, didn't tell anyone. We kind of just disappeared off to London and trained and fought. And we needed to do a bit more competition training. But again, that's not for everyone. A lot of guys just want to come in and roll. A lot of people don't want to start from standing and get dropped on their head or have people pull guard on their kneecaps. So again, it's basically just making sure that our coaching's at the highest level, work on the online stuff, and just try to keep doing what we're doing, and hopefully that keeps everyone happy.
Yeah. And then we were obviously when I put the post up to say that I was going to be speaking to you, there was obviously a few people had mentioned stuff. One was Dean Riley talking about was it something to do with Erasure?
Oh yeah, I have a karaoke song that I do. I'm quite good at that high note for the Erasure song.
Right.
Yes, it's like probably from being kicked in the testicles quite a lot. I can kind of get that high note.
Okay.
Like I've done that in a gay bar with like Bernsey before in Berlin. Yeah, it went that well. So.
Right. So that's your karaoke song, an Erasure song.
Yeah, it's I've got one song I can sing. It's that one.
Yeah. And then any kind of other funny things that you can share on this. So because I know there's a lot of stories that we all have.
Funny shit happens at the gym all the time.
Yeah.
Like it's a constant stream of abuse and hurtful things that people say, and it's quite nice because like no one has any respect for me, which is kind of it's good in a way. It keeps you on your toes.
Yeah.
Like no one's that mean to Gary to his face because he's terrifying.
Yeah.
But like I get it pretty tight. Funny stuff happens. Yes. Just general gym banter. It's the same everywhere. I think our guys are particularly mean, but like by and large it's the same thing you get with any sports team with a bunch of guys that actually like each other.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean,
I do like the chat that I kicked Louise out for toxic masculinity. Like that's become a thing.
Yeah, I heard about this as well. Yeah, I heard about this.
Yeah, this is accurate though. Like she was like basically using kind of derogatory like slurs towards everyone who displayed any type of male weakness. It was harsh. So we just had to let her go and go to Portugal.
But she had some good words to say about you and Dean and Gary and all that on her chat. So
well, like I did threaten her a lot.
Yeah, nah. Louise, I remember Louise first, when I first met Louise, she came into, I remember it was GB, when obviously I trained there, and I remember she came in, obviously she was judo black belt, and obviously she wasn't allowed, the GB don't do takedowns, so she was always pissed because she wasn't allowed to do takedowns, and especially training, getting ready for comps, and I always remember going to comps, and she would turn up with the white belt on, and she would go in the blue belt division, and everybody would be looking, going, shit. And you would hear them all saying, she's a judo black belt. Judo. So, but that's the same. I mean, anybody that goes in a blue belt competition, as soon as anybody steps on with a white belt, you're like, fuck. Do you know what I mean? It's definitely a judo black belt.
It's an automatic guard pull, really.
Yes, definitely. So, and then over the years, what's been your kind of highlight in regards to your years in the GripHouse?
I'm pretty sure you'll have. It's kind of the day-to-day stuff. I really like teaching. When guys start pulling off stuff we've been working on, that's also gives you like a sense of pride and stuff. I was teaching this kind of like this wrist locky thing a few years back from like back control, and like a lot of our guys have won fights. So like Jen's won, Louise has won, Cogsy and Matt have both kind of hit this in comps. And I was going, that's a thing I sort of invented. I probably saw it from somewhere, but like it's kind of that's when that happens, it's kind of cool. But just seeing the way the guys develop and stuff, and it's cool. Like, you know, and a lot of the guys, like Badger was a real shrinking violet when he started training and stuff. You know, like he was a very shy man, and now he's a horrible human being. So like he's really come out of his shell. And Shaz used to be really tight, but now he's he's a really generous person now. Like if you ever had like, you know, problems with your rent or something, and like you know, like he would be the first guy you'd ask to kind of like, you know, help you out. And Gary, you met Gary and stuff. You know, he's very humble, very humble. Like that time you tried to give him a trophy, and he was like, there's tears in his eyes, but like, you know, he was didn't feel he deserved it, you know. And that's what we call him, humble Gary. He
did. I mean, when I came up, and he didn't expect it, because obviously he did not expect it. So, and I remember Dean saying, get Gary on camera. Get him on camera. So
he I keep trying to get him to get footage when he kills people in jiu-jitsu comps. Give me some footage or a podium picture so I can stick it on the website. I get nothing. Like, you know, it's like for social media, I'm not trying to big you up or anything, because it's just this humility. He's like a black belt in humility as well as a black belt in jiu-jitsu.
But yeah, I remember that day, and I remember Dean was obviously when we started it was like yeah Gary, and then Dean's like yes, and Dean was making obviously a massive deal of it because obviously he knew it was annoying Gary. Do you know what I mean? So and then Gary's just like no, listen, I don't, no, this should be given to Shane, and obviously I had to explain to Gary, look, the reason you're getting it is because, do you know what I mean, you do this year in, year out, Gary, do you know what I mean, you've not been doing this for a couple of years, I mean, every year you go out, you're doing something, so I had to explain it to him.
Gaz is only getting into this now, like, it's only really recently, like, you know, since he's been in the Masters division, it's like, so he's kind of learning along the way as well, and that makes him a better coach, because, like, a lot of times in competitions, I don't have a clue what's going on. I don't know. I kind of know the scoring system, but I'm not great with it.
Yeah.
So it's that competition experience which is valuable to the competitors because, like, you know, people will ask me a rules question in the class. I'll be like, don't know, not sure. Maybe it's an advantage or a penalty, or I'm not sure.
Yeah. But it's good to have. I mean, you guys have got a number of coaches. One of the kind of ones that kind of stood out when I was speaking to him was Cammy. Obviously Cammy's story about obviously when he first started he was kind of big, and then obviously dropped a lot of weight, and then obviously we know what Cammy's doing now, obviously through not just jiu-jitsu, wrestling and things like that as well, going into wrestling comps and winning them as well. So he was kind of one of the guys. So when you have a success story like that, and again, you guys have had a number of people over the years, but I take it that's something for you when you see that happening. It's got to be a great feeling.
Yeah, it's cool, but you know what? Like, you see the people that have just stayed in shape forever.
Yeah.
Like, they never get enough credit. Like, I've never been kind of let out of shape ever, and like, you know, like I would love to take like several years off and get really fat, but like, you know, I haven't. You know, and no one gives a shit about me.
Yeah.
Or like, you know, people that are like, again, like Cammy's done and stuff, and the rest of the guys that like who have had that same sort of story that, you know, that change your life around and become a super athlete kind of thing. It's very, very cool, and it's very good for promotional material as well. Have you seen the pictures of Cammy?
I saw the pictures from back when he first started. Yeah.
I thought he was two different people for a while.
Yeah.
I was like, well, is that guy? Like, yeah, and that happens quite regularly. Like, and again, people think about, like, you know, like, this is like, you know, I've done lots of strength and conditioning. I've got a degree in nutrition and stuff, so I kind of know stuff. But I think the best thing you can do is it's a lifestyle change where you kind of just find something you like doing, and everything else comes from that. If you're forcing yourself to go to the gym and lift weights and run and stuff, and you're not into it, it's not going to happen for you. You're not going to be motivated to eat right and try to do stuff like I eat healthy, not because I'm kind of particularly virtuous, because I know if I eat like shit, my training will suffer. So it's that sort of thing, and I think that's probably the best. Like, find whatever it is, if it's dancing, if it's Zumba, if it's like whatever. Like, jiu-jitsu is one thing, but I think it's very beneficial for people.
No, it definitely is. I mean, it definitely is. Not just jiu-jitsu, but obviously, as you mentioned there, if you enjoy something and you're constantly going, and obviously great things are going to happen. And as I said, obviously you've seen that coming through GripHouse doors year in, year out. There's always I mean, you always love looking at the pictures that you guys put up, because almost everybody in it has a six-pack. Whereas you go to other gyms and there's maybe two people in the picture got six-packs and the rest have got dad bods. So
well, like that's we do have a secret weapon with regards to that. And it's Badger,
right?
Like Neil Duffy. He bullies me. Like, you know, he just like he gives all the guys, anytime someone looks a little bit chubby or, like, you know, has come back from a holiday, he's on their case like non-stop. Like, I'm going to like not Dunkin' Donuts, what the hell we have over here, like Krispy Kremes, or actually Tantrum Donuts, they're delightful. I'm going, right, I'll just have one of these, and then I'm thinking about what Badger's going to say in the back of my head, and it stops me doing it. Works quite well.
Because that's where, when I did Cammy's call and Nathaniel, I actually met them at the all-you-can-eat buffet in Silverburn.
Did you see those boys at the buffet? They're monsters.
Yeah, man. I mean, I remember going up, and because I was leaving. I was there with the family, and I remember leaving and speaking to them, and Cammy's standing there with a big, huge plate. Nathaniel's coming over. He's got a big, huge plate as well. And I remember saying, obviously, we'll obviously get a call booked with Cammy. And I specifically didn't mention on the call that he was at the buffet, because I was like, I don't want to mention that in case obviously your coaches are listening. You're not supposed to be there, and he brought it up, so I was like, all right, well, it's out now.
Like, those guys know what they're doing. I think the main reason those two train is so they can consume like the same amount of calories they did when they were big fat guys.
Yeah. So, but yeah, as I said, I mean, you guys have had success stories coming through the gym. As I said, every time you see pictures, regardless of the martial art that you're doing, there's always, as I say, you guys are the top. You guys are the pinnacle, certainly in Scotland and throughout the UK. Even you go over to America. I remember being over in America. I was in California, and I was talking to GB headquarters, training over there, and they didn't know any other gym, but they knew the GripHouse. Right?
Oh, cool.
And this was guys in California, and I'm like, wow. So that just shows the reach that the GripHouse has. The guys in California, they didn't even know there was a GB gym in Glasgow, but they knew there was a GripHouse, which was unbelievable. So yeah, I mean, it's obviously a pleasure to have guys like you, obviously the GripHouse gym, because I see you guys are the ones that, and I always remember talking to Shaz Khan and saying, for IBJJF comps, I look up to Shaz Khan, because I'm like, well, if I can get half as the amount of success he's had, then do you know what I mean? I'm successful in IBJJF comps. So
like Shaz is really focused on those style of comps. Like, he's got like a couple of positions that he does like so well, and his entire game is based around those positions, and they're kind of unusual as well. They're not like you're kind of doing something right, and then you get caught with stuff. He's a sneaky motherfucker. But like, you know, he's very, very good, and like, you know, he has the potential to tap anyone. Yeah. Particularly the first time you ever train him, he'll probably tap you.
Yeah, no, he did. He definitely did. Because I was up, I think I was up, the first time I rolled with Shaz, I think I was a blue, I was a blue, I think. I'm sure he was a blue or maybe early purple. And I remember rolling with him, and do you know when you're rolling, and it was a good roll, because obviously I'd always been taught that if you go to the GripHouse or you go to any other gym outside of where I trained to start with, then you're going to get a hard time. But I never ever had that when I came to not that, I don't mean I didn't have a hard time in regards to rolls. What I meant was a hard time as in, like, they're not going to look at you and say, they're going to give you a hard time. Yeah, they're going to bully you, basically, which, as I say, you guys are always respectful.
It's because most of the guys are grown-ups. Like, most of the guys have real jobs. They're not like, they don't have their entire identity caught up in jiu-jitsu. Like, they're kind of got jobs, they got families. Jiu-jitsu is just something they do because they enjoy it. Again, we do have competitors who like will generally kind of like take it a bit more seriously, but like by and large, the guys are cool. Like,
yeah, I mean, again,
it's like I think a lot of the guys, particularly more experienced guys, they just roll to the level that you're rolling at. So if you're kind of going, like, I very rarely go super light, but like, you know, kind of just if you're just exchanging, like, you know, just working on stuff, like, you're going to get that back. Whereas if you just bite down your gum shield and go absolutely tits, somebody will try to kill you. Like,
yeah, definitely.
It's the unwritten rule, and every gym's the same. Every gym I've ever been to, if you go mental on them, like, there's somebody there, whether it's a Gary Christie or like a Cammy or Nate, someone will fuck you up.
Yeah. I've seen that over the years. So, but you guys are very respectful. As I said, anybody that comes in, as I said, you guys are respectful. Yeah, you're going to get tough rolls. So as I said, there's definitely no easy rolls in the GripHouse. Whether it be a young kid up to obviously the black belts, you, Gary, and so on, and but there's always going to be a tough roll. But as I said, it's very, very respectful gym, which, as I said, which was something that I was told would never happen. So
you got fed some bullshit, dude.
Yeah, no, listen, I definitely did. So I said I've never been up, and it's been a bad time. Obviously, even now, there's some of the guys where we'll slag each other off online. Obviously, Shaz Khan and Cogsy's always a good one as well. Do you know what I mean? whenever I post anything and Cogsy jumps on, you're like, oh, here we go. What's he going to say? So, and then we
little knobs, man. I'm done with GSC. I don't even like them anymore.
And even at comps as well, when we see each other at comps, as we were happy to see each other, but then the next thing we're doing is we're slagging each other off. So, which the banter and...
I think that's a normal kind of sporting behaviour. I think that's perfectly understandable.
Yes.
And like, you know, it's nice from having to watch what you say around people when you know people, you can kind of like just be mean to them. And I like it. It's good.
Definitely.
That's my inner bad guy. Right?
Definitely. And then, so for you then, what you mentioned obviously potentially when the kids are older, you want to get into competitions, or get back into maybe doing some competitions. So what are we going to see next from yourself, Paul? What's in the near future? Anything that you've got coming up?
Basically, I just sit around, work in the background. I'm doing a lot more stuff with the guys that compete, kind of analysing their games and kind of like offering suggestions on how they can help, like things that we can work on, and just making our systems better and just trying to make jiu-jitsu the way we teach it much like just more professional. You know, kind of like, you know, have like ways of linking stuff up and just a systemized approach to it. That's what I'll be working in the background. If I ever do compete, it's hard for me because like I competed at a high level in jiu-jitsu, and I don't know if not jiu-jitsu. What's the other thing I did? Yeah, MMA. So it's hard to see if jiu-jitsu will be the same as that, or will it be kind of like I don't know if I'll like. And it's different because like when you do MMA, see if you just try really hard and are fit, you'll probably do all right. In jiu-jitsu, if you try really hard, you're probably going to fuck up. You know, like there's ways of kind of slipping up, and you just can't go mental the entire time, which was pretty much my MO as an MMA fighter. So I don't know if I'm into it. See, if I lost a pile of matches by advantage, I'd probably like be upset. You know, or by a rule that I didn't understand, or if I got stalled out, that would kind of annoy me. So I don't know if I have the temperament to do jiu-jitsu at a decent level, but I think, like, you know, if you're a black belt, you probably should compete a bit. Otherwise, like, you know, it's hard to say you're like a black belt, you know. Does that make sense? Yeah. So I'll probably compete, but I think my role is mainly coaching. Like, I'll hopefully be a good partner for like the guys that compete and for the guys that are recreational. But my role as a coach, like, I just need to understand jiu-jitsu as opposed to be any good at it.
Yeah, definitely. And then for you, I mean, if it wasn't for MMA or any type of MMA, what would you have done?
Oh, I don't know. I kind of like, I like sciencey stuff, so I might have done some sort of like research. Like I did a lot of, we did a lot of kind of like stuff in my degree where I was kind of like, you know, a researcher. I might have done that. Might have been one of those creepy personal trainers who's like 42 and in a pure gym somewhere sleazing on people. I don't know, man. I'm glad my life has turned out the way it has.
I'd say I've been watching you for years. I remember the kind of high. I always loved it when the first time I came up to the grip, and obviously you've got the glass cabinets with the belts and some of the trophies and things like that. So obviously as you walk in the door, that's the kind of first things that you see, and obviously seeing. I'm sure it's your belts that are in there.
Oh, the Cage Warriors one.
The Cage Warriors belts, yeah.
I don't know where that is. I think James Doolan stole it off me.
Right, okay.
I think he was doing some promotional thing for his podcast. Which we won't discuss on this podcast. So I think he was doing something with a belt, and I was going, "Where's my belt?" Yeah. And I think James has it. So that's not there.
Right. Okay. So, but you've obviously got the trophies and stuff like that, so you can come in and anybody that walks in, obviously the first thing that you see, so it just shows you obviously the success of the gym and things like that. So and then in regards to people contacting maybe you directly or the GripHouse, how do people get in contact with you guys?
Well, don't contact me directly because I don't reply to anyone. But no, that's not true. I don't really use like social media that much anymore. As of like 2 days ago, I read a book and it's changed my life. But like, if you want to contact the GripHouse, you can contact thegriphouse@gmail.com or on the Facebook page. That's probably, if you want to discuss stuff about training, that's probably the best place to do. And if you want to talk to me about other aspects of life and stuff, just don't. It's probably it won't be helpful, and I don't care.
Yeah. So, not a people person, Paul.
I'm fucking busy. And that's like, if you train in my gym, I got that, but
Yeah.
I've just ended this sounding like a wanker.
No, not at all. I mean, everybody knows you. Everybody, obviously, the guys in the GripHouse that train with you know you obviously a bit more. But anybody, I'd say, that looks at you from outside the GripHouse, obviously, I'd say they keep you in high regards. So yeah, definitely. Even when you see you at competitions, people can still approach you and kind of say hello and things like that. I mean, you're not one of these people.
I don't mind that. That's okay.
Yeah.
But if you it's when I get to the emails at 2:00 in the morning from people who are out their face on WKD Blues and talking about being the next Conor McGregor, that's like I could do without that.
Yeah. Everybody wants to be Conor McGregor.
I got an email a while ago about a guy who his kid's a born fighter and he just needs the right direction and stuff, and he was 3 years old, and I was like, I don't want to talk to you anymore. So he was fun.
Yes. Oh, there's been a few over the years. I mean, obviously you'll have a lot more stories about people over the years. But everybody wanted to be. I remember they used to come into the gym and be like that. And the first thing that they always said was, "I watch the UFC," and you'd be like, "Oh, here we go."
Do you do UFC?
Yeah, do you do UFC? So that was always one of the funny ones that you always hear. But I'm saying, I'm pretty sure you've heard that. If you had £1 for every time you'd heard that, you'd be a millionaire.
It's wild. I think a lot of our business is MMA stuff, and we do have to be thankful for Conor McGregor for popularizing it a lot.
Yeah.
But it also is a bit challenging regarding that. I also once had the Archangel Gabriel turn up to train.
Right.
A guy who was convinced he was the Archangel Gabriel.
Okay.
But he was really into fighting, but he had to go soon because he didn't know how he was getting back. And as he said this, he pointed up to the sky. I don't know how I'm getting back up. Right. You're mad.
I mean, that's brilliant. I mean, jiu-jitsu, MMA and stuff like that brings out, as I say, the best characters. I mean,
yeah, we're all a bit weird,
Yeah, I mean, some of the best people I've met over the last 6 years. Do you know what I mean? I've tried to choke me out, or I've tried to choke them out, and
some of the best people and some of the most mentally disturbed.
Yes, definitely. And then last thing for you, then, anybody you want to kind of obviously it's been a long journey for yourself so far. Obviously it's going to be even longer. You're going to continue going, but anybody you want to kind of thank from over the years?
Oh yeah, there's anyone who's ever trained with me, anyone who's ever rolled with me. It's every experience. Anytime you make contact with someone in jiu-jitsu, it's always beneficial. Like a white belt will teach you stuff. Mm-hmm. About how to move and stuff like that. Specifically coach-wise, Gary is probably the number one guy. With regards coaching in the gym, coaching myself. Mm-hmm. It's tons of people like John Kavanagh, Marcus. Me and Marcus used to roll a lot. And it was hideous.
Mate, it still is, man. Marcos is still a nightmare.
Yeah, I know. Just anyone I've ever trained with, and Guy Ramsey for having the faith in us to kind of go into business together with our stuff that eventually turned into the GripHouse, which turned into a bigger thing than any of us had ever expected, I suppose.
Yeah.
And all the guys that train at the Grip, as always, I don't have affiliated training groups or anything. My main concern is always the guys that train the Grip, and hopefully they know that they get my full attention, my full efforts in kind of making them better at jiu-jitsu. So
yeah, definitely. Well, obviously a big thank you from me as well to you, because as I said, without the GripHouse obviously doing it since the beginning, I'd say I'm pretty sure a lot of the guys out there that are doing jiu-jitsu now would never have started, or as I said, just the fact that you guys are up there, and you guys are giving us something to achieve, or you're giving us a level that we can look at and say, do you know what, one day we want to be like you guys.
We basically assured that if a bunch of roasters like us can actually do stuff like this, anyone can do it,
but no, listen, keep doing what you're doing, Paul. I mean, it's a pleasure to see you guys. I mean, I always love it when your guys are going out and doing your thing, regardless of what you're doing. I say I'm one of the guys that like the page, the GripHouse page, and
Cool.
obviously we get to see a lot of the everything that's happening in the gym, not just jiu-jitsu, but every other martial art that you guys do in the gym. So I always love seeing you guys going out and doing your thing. So hopefully you guys are around for another 100 years to come. So.
Well, hopefully. Well, I'll take for as long as I'm alive.
Yeah.
Like I can make a living out of this.
Yes, definitely.
That'll do me.
Yes. Are we going to see you at the next comp in Glasgow?
Oh, is that SGI?
Well, I don't know. No, the competition, Glasgow Open.
Yeah, I'll probably be at the Glasgow Open. I'm not allowed to go to SGI.
Right.
Mainly because like the last time I was there and cornered, everyone lost, and like guys that shouldn't have lost, like Jen lost, who she should have won. Nate got his ankle broken, that shouldn't have happened. Right. All this stuff. So basically, I'm not allowed to go to SGI anymore. So you're I don't think I'm even really allowed it in Mary Hill. In case I jinx it.
So you're barred from SGI. So we won't see you there on Saturday. But...
Yeah, no, legitimately that, and like John's music is.
Yeah, I mean anybody that's ever been at SGI, obviously you'll see John in the corner, and it's like a.
You know what? Actually, that's a highlight. I would go. If like it would still let me go, I would go just to watch John DJ set. Yeah,
because John's there, and John seems to be like in a world of his own, because obviously he's got the headphones on and he's doing his GBX mix, and it's brilliant to see. And sometimes you don't watch the fight. You just sit and watch John in the corner, just doing his Tiesto thing in the background.
Yeah, and people don't realise he's actually really, really good at jiu-jitsu. Like, he's a really good high-level purple belt.
So, it's always great seeing John, and I'd say tunes are always banging. Indeed
they are.
Yes. But no, listen, Paul, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much for...
no problem.
I know you're a busy guy.
To listen to me waffle.
Yeah, but I know you're a busy guy, so obviously thank you very much for obviously taking the time out to speak to me. And yeah, as I said, I'll see you hopefully at the Glasgow Open in April. And we'll grab a chat. Maybe not too much, because obviously I know you don't like to talk to people now. So
did I really say that? Yeah, probably. Sounds about right.
But listen, thank you again, sir, and you enjoy the rest of your evening, okay?
Catch you later, man.
Take it easy, bro. Bye-bye.
Thanks for your time.
So guys, that was Paul McVeigh. Paul McVeigh, black belt, coming out of the GripHouse. Paul, absolutely wonderful person. Anybody that's had the chance to obviously spend time with Paul or have a chat with Paul, as I said, despite what he said, he's not approachable, but yeah, listen, he is. He's a nice guy. He's always there to speak to people, and as long as you approach him in the right way, because obviously, again, I'm pretty sure he's had some guys coming up giving it the big I am, but yeah, Paul's an absolute legend in MMA in Scotland, and obviously throughout. I mean, obviously double champ, Cage Warriors champ. He was a double champ before it was cool, before Conor McGregor obviously stole it, and yeah, Paul's done absolutely wonders throughout MMA. Obviously trained some of the best guys that have come out of jiu-jitsu in Scotland, right up to black belt. As I mentioned, there's people throughout Scotland that have got their own academies now, their own gyms now, and they always, whenever they mention about it coming up, back in the day, they always mention about some of these guys went and trained at the GripHouse, because that was really the only place in Scotland that you were able to do jiu-jitsu. So yeah, Paul's been responsible. Paul and the rest of the coaches and so on at the GripHouse have been responsible for some of the best guys that you'll have ever seen coming out of Scottish jiu-jitsu, and having a team like the GripHouse there. What they do is, as well as pushing their own guys, they also push other people as well. So because at the end of the day, whenever you come up against a GripHouse guy in a competition, there's no animosity, but you always want to beat them because they're the best, and these are the guys that everybody wants to beat. Same with obviously team trophies, coaches in professors and so on at other gyms always want their team to be the best. So when anybody comes up against, when your team comes up against the GripHouse, you always want to beat their guys, and you always want to beat the team as well. So so it's always great having someone like the GripHouse being there and leading the way, because they've been doing it for a number of years. As I mentioned, not just jiu-jitsu, but obviously other martial arts as well. So Paul's very, very big part of that. So Paul's definitely one of the guys that's been a big part of Scottish Jiu-Jitsu and bringing it to where it is today. And we've not heard the last of Paul. As I said, he's obviously when the kids are older, he wants to try and get back into competing and things like that. So we're definitely going to see more about Paul in the future. And obviously the guys at GripHouse, I mean, you'll see these guys at competitions all the time. So Paul's obviously, when he gets the chance, you'll see him come to competitions, obviously local competitions. So whenever he gets the chance, he'll always try his best to be there. And it's not uncommon to see Paul being there for the full day, because he does love spending the full day there and coaching his guys, and he'll be jumping all over the place. He'll go from mat 1 to mat 6 and back to mat 2, mat 3 and so on. So he's all over the place. You'll see him coaching two mats at the same time, so I've seen that happen before. He'll be shouting from mat 1 to mat 4, do this, do that. So yeah, as I say, an absolute pleasure to have Paul on. Yeah, as I say, just keep an eye out for the GripHouse and Paul, because obviously these guys will still be around. They'll still be the number one guys in Scotland. So thanks again, Paul. And guys, I hope you enjoyed that. So listen, thank you for listening, and we'll see you on the next one.